Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip,
And I'm CJ.
and it is Friday in the Rib. And I know we'll be getting welcome to the people who are here, and some of them will be coming in shortly, we know. Well, I guess I don't even know where to begin. The comedian, no, I got a new name for Coogan, Chameleon Coogan. He changes his position as much as a chameleon changes colors. It's like I'm gonna give him 1.5 million to 3 million. I took away, which should have been earmarked for Manning, which it wasn't. That was their reason to take it out. But you think it should have been directed at Manning if you're the actual you want to staff your department well. So that's number one. And then when he gets money from the state, he yanks that money out. Don't leave it there, Paul. Heaven forbid we actually commit to public safety. Let's come up with a 10-year plan to put one person, an average of one person a year on for 10 years, and then we'll only be 12 men understaffed in 10 years. What an absolute imbecile. And I mean,
Well, you should
and
have
he
seen
has the audacity to say things like this.
you should have seen his post today. Him, Ken Fiola, and Laura Washington Sampson, whatever name she's going by these days. And in this post, we find out that Ken Fiola gets $1,000 to handle marijuana applications. I didn't know he was a marijuana expert. Is there anything that Paul doesn't get this guy money for?
Listen, you know, Kenny's got to hit the $1 billion mark before he retires and gets out of Fall River. Actually, I heard a story today from a very reliable source about a person who was actually a city employee and got a job from Paul, and I guess somebody was in the neighborhood and they were going door to door, and they said, "Oh, don't bother going to that house. That's my house. It's up for sale because I'm moving to Swansea. I can't afford the taxes in Fall River." And that individual got a job from Paul, and
That's
they're
right.
moving out. This is the Coogan effect. This is the Coogan effect. I mean, this is just. I mean, I can, like you said, there's nothing he can't stop giving to his rich friends. Let's make my rich friends richer. Let's make my connected friends. If you're not in, it doesn't matter. You can die in a homeless camp. You can unfortunately be trapped in a building and have an undermanned fire department respond. This is nuts. I mean, the people. Massachusetts. It really is a crap hole. I call it mass hole. But the fact is that as bad as Massachusetts is, we set the standard for idiocy in this city. I mean, everybody else is building at least some affordable housing. This guy's like, we don't even talk. We're going to build like 1 unit, 3 units. We probably got well over 100,000 people because they don't count the illegals yet. They will at some point in time when they start taking a census in these market rate housings that are getting filled with people that are definitely not from Martha's Vineyard or Newton or Wellesley or Acton or any place else in the state that you would say, well, they're all going to come to Fall River with an underperforming educational system, terrible streets, high crime, an undermanned fire department. Just what I want to do: buy a house in Fall River with an undermanned fire department and an undermanned police department. This is nuts. Yeah, hi, Fred. But I mean, this is. And then the thing is, he has the. I mean, I don't know. Did he? Is he in the spectrum? I have to ask that question when I listen to him because he actually articulates some of these things. It shows he's a total buffoon. He can't communicate. I'm a vice principal. No, you're not, Paul. You've been a mayor for 6 years. You think you would have got the hint yet that you're the mayor and that you're in charge? I don't care. You don't have to be an expert, but you're the mayor and you're supposed to have experts. You're supposed to have a working knowledge of everything that's happening in your city. That's where the buck stops. Harry Truman had somebody to give him financial advice on on the Fed, and that's why presidents have cabinets. That's why mayors have the ability to hire consultants, call other mayors, get other information. This is nuts. Jim, Linda, hello, welcome.
Hey, David Oliveira says Ken Fiola knows it all.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, hey, the only thing he hasn't done yet is open a pot place. But that's right. He does all the legal work for anybody that has to. Remember that guy that came to the city
Oh yeah.
a few years ago and eviscerated everybody? Yeah, you're right. Well, there are very high functioning people with autism. But he's not high functioning at anything. Paul Coogan is low functioning at everything, and I think he's on his own spectrum. It's the blithering idiot spectrum, because how can you I got to hold my head so it doesn't explode when I think of a mayor after the incident we just had saying I got a plan to put on 5 men over the next 5 years and another 5 men after in the next 5 years. I don't know. You actually say that in front. You say that where it can be recorded. You're severely undermanned now. The guy said he wants 200. That's not enough. He wants 200, and you're going to give him 5 over the next 5 years, and then another 5. That's 10 years. Do you think you're going to be the mayor in 10 years? Well, you think our fire department? I don't know. Maybe it's me. I'm pretty decent at math. He said we had 178 men. He had 178 men. If we put on 10 in the next 10 years, we'll have 188. That still puts us below the 12 that he needs today. God knows what we're going to need in 10 years. I mean, this guy is he's his own worst enemy. You know the old saying, if you're an imbecile, don't open your mouth and remove all doubt. Well, Paul is a freaking classic example of that.
I was going to bring that up, Michelle. That was the same. I brought up part of it when Ken Fiola gets paid $1,000 for a marijuana application. And Laura Washington Sampson, whatever name she's using now, was there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We have to look at that. And Fred, yeah, I will Google that. Thank you, Fred. I will check that out. And that's the problem. But the problem is, unfortunately, we've had some long-term mayors, and they fundamentally run the city pretty good. But this guy's a fairly long-term mayor. I mean, 3 terms. And the thing is, in 3 terms, he's done absolutely nothing for the average person of Fall River. He's got a lot of
my tax bill.
Yeah, he's more than double the taxes for some people.
My escrow account is bigger than my principal payment.
So is mine.
Yeah.
My bank sent me a letter 6 months ago saying you better start putting more money in your escrow account because you're going to get hammered at the beginning of the next fiscal year because of what we have to do to make sure that you have enough in escrow. And
That's right.
did. But I mean, this guy's, he's beyond belief. I mean, everything. And remember his promises. When he got in, what did he say? And if I'm wrong, correct me, please. Didn't he say, I'm going to be a stabilizing influence. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to lower taxes. Didn't he promise a tax break his first term? He promised there was going to be a tax break in his first term, and he didn't deliver. And he promised that at the beginning of his second term. Now he stopped promising it. You've been asking. Yeah, he hasn't done anything, positive. Oh, he's done plenty for Kenny Fiola. He's done plenty for his rich developer friends. And we're suffering the consequences because every one of those people get tips on everything. If they built an outhouse on their property, they'd get a tip. This is crazy. Yeah, you're right, Annalise. I wish we could in this state. This state is like, that's the problem. A lot of these people have mental issues. They can't accept reality. Listen, show me something. This is what he promised. He said, I'm going to give you a tax break. I'm going to give you, I'm going to I'm going to make the sea straight. I'm going to be transparent, which he's buried everything under a. It's like North Korea. Everything he said was an absolute, nothing. No promises kept. Zero promises kept. Rents have tripled. Taxes have more than doubled. Some people nearly tripled. Fees have doubled and tripled under his yacht. But who's gotten the benefit? All the millionaires that are coming down to develop property here, they're getting the tips. They're getting multi-million-dollar tips that are put in our tax base. Because remember what a tip is. That tax doesn't go away. Where does it go?
Transfers it to me.
Remind everybody where that goes when they get a tip. It goes into what? Our tax base.
That's right.
Because it's factored into the tax base. They don't pay it. We do.
That's right.
That chart, it's buried somewhere in my.
Somebody's got to pay the bill.
700 tons of paperwork. But remember that chart I brought up like a couple years ago when we actually did the 2.5. They said, oh, the 2.5. And we went over the percentages of how much our taxes had actually increased with all the tips. And they were in double figures most years.
Yes, they were.
They're in double figures.
Right.
And you know why? Because we're paying. We're paying the tax bill.
It's not only that. It's the way they calculate the taxes.
These developers.
The way they calculate the taxes in Fall River. Okay? They take the entire tax base, okay, and then divide it amongst the tax-paying properties. Notice I said tax-paying properties.
Yeah.
So we end up paying it.
It sounds
David Oliver says, come on, you guys. Didn't know Mayor Fiola told the VP what to do? All transparency.
Yeah. And you know what you just explained to the people, our great viewers? You explained to them exactly what happens. And you know what that is? That is a welfare system for the rich.
That's right. So welfare for the rich.
We divide it among everybody. We divide your tax bill, you rich SOB, coming down here from out of town. You don't even own a property in here. And the property you own are generating massive income with these rents. And we get to pick up, we get to all split some of your tax bill. Boy, how magnanimous of us. Or magnanimous of Paul.
And the worst part about it is, if it's not a tip, it's a tie. And with the tie, the initial property value is exempt from taxes. It's only the improvement that they tax.
Yeah. Well, write it in. At least we'll get a vote. But look, I mean, this is outrageous that this guy's even thinking about, because you know why? And it's pretty obvious why. It's because he's got to stay in office to make his rich friends rich.
Right.
That's exactly what he's been told. You got to stay in because nobody will give us the deals that we get from you. And
that's right.
Because this is the problem. This is the problem. I mean, you look at this stuff and you say, wow, 6 years. I have never seen such 6 years of nothing. Not one project that enhanced the quality of life for the average Fall River taxpayer. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's probably that was probably a mini vacation, only 300,000. So some of these politicians, they spend, $500,000 on a vacation. Beep. Go ahead, CJ.
Well, as I said earlier, $1,000 a pop on marijuana, the state pier, the Route 79 project, the redevelopment authority. There's nothing Ken Fiola doesn't have his hands in. And that's because of Paul the dictator douchebag.
You know, you're right, and I mean, everything he says is gobbledygook. That's why I was just perusing his letter to his transition team about what his Fall River. He said, "A well-functioning city is defined by safe, well-maintained streets." Well, we don't have safe, well-maintained streets. Uh, Clean, vibrant neighborhoods, and the efficient delivery of public services. How can you deliver public services efficiently when you're undermanned on a fire department and police departments? Okay, so it is imperative that we stabilize our tax bases. Yeah, he's stabilized it all right. He's raised it every single year. There's no stability in our tax rate. We have no idea. We still don't know how much we're paying for Durfee, and we're not going to know how much we pay for Diamond, basically. He stabilized nothing. These are his words. I'm reading them right off his graph.
And remember,
there's his graph. I'm reading the damn thing right off his graph.
And remember, the Diamond Project, we didn't get a vote on. We weren't asked about.
I know.
All he wanted from us on the Diamond Project was a debt exclusion. Right there.
Yeah. And he said, but listen to this sentence. This is the one that kills me. He said, it's imperative that we stabilize our tax base and provide an avenue for neighborhood revitalization, particularly in, now listen to this, commercial districts and, of course, on our waterfront and the neighborhoods of the city. So now you tell me what's left in the city. If you eliminate the neighborhoods where people live, the commercial districts, what's left in the city? Nothing. That's fundamentally for the whole city. So, I mean, this guy is beyond ridiculous. I mean, when you read the stuff that he did, and we remember all this stuff, and here's another one. As he enters his third term, we're going to elevate ourselves. Yes, I don't know how we're going to elevate ourselves, but by not doing. You know, he took the 1.5 million that he gave the fire department that he quote unquote found, that he took away 3 and gave him back. Well, that's a good deal. I'll tell you what, Paul. You give me $3 for every $1.50 I give you, and I'm just going to keep bringing money to your house. Here's my $1.50. Give me my 3. Here's 300. Okay, here's 150. You give me 300. Here's 1,500. Give me 3,000, Paul. That's what you did. You didn't even give them all their money back. You gave them half the money back, and as soon as you got money from the state, you took it back. Are you going to take back the $7 million of opera money that you're going to spend on lights and benches and pump it into the fire department? No, because Tony will be mad at you. And we can't have that, can we? We can't have Kenny and Tony be mad at you. That's a bad thing.
That's right. Because remember, you got a TIF meeting coming up. You got a TIF meeting coming up soon, I'm sure, to give him a nice big fat TIF.
Yeah. Well, remember how many streets?
A tie. So I don't want to hear about it.
CJ, how many streets did they jump when they did the Wall Street as soon as he bought something down here, right? So it's like, whoops, I'm making something down here. Yep, the Wall Street goes right to the top of the list. Yeah, you're right, Antlers. A true politician. Hey, Colin, we're having a good time today. Raking them over the coals.
Well, I've got to divert from this for a little bit because I want to talk about our great civic leader, Mr. Volunteerism. I'm going to improve the neighborhoods. I'm going to do this from the goodness of my heart.
Oh, boy. Okay. I can't wait for this. Go ahead.
Okay? From the goodness of my heart. And I'm going to have my campaign kickoff in the Flint because that's where I started all of this. Yeah, I know. And the building owner who you put up all those murals, facades, whatever, on the windows, guess what? You charged them. You got them to agree to pay for the food, and then you gave them a bill for $600 for hot dogs, potato chips, and soda. What were those hot dogs made from? Angus beef? Were they Deutschmarkers?
Yeah, Deutschmarker. That's right. I'll tell you. Yeah. And by the way, one of our viewers said that he doesn't like both of us. I don't know.
Hey, guess what? Here's my violin.
Yeah. Well, you got one, I got two. Here's the two smallest
That's right.
violins in the world
Right.
playing My Heart Bleeds for You. I don't care if he likes me or dislikes me. I really didn't. All I said was, why would a guy who was throwing bouquets at Coogan for his performance? Yeah, Fenway Franks, yeah. But why would anybody who was throwing bouquets at Coogan want to run against him? And I just want that's a simple question. I'd like a simple answer. Does he think he could do something better? What does he want to do? Does he want to create a better business environment for himself? I don't know, because I question the motivation. He was never in politics before. He was satisfied with the way the city was running. Most people aren't, hopefully, and come to vote. But I just asked for his motivation. But now there are a lot of people saying that supposedly you have proof that he was charging people. So it wasn't really for nothing. But you know something? I guess his excuse is, that old adage, there's no such thing as a free lunch. Well, I guess with him, there's no such thing as a freebie. You always get charged something from somewhere.
They all do.
Friends, yeah. Today's word is friends, yeah.
This is interesting. I just brought up his OCPF filing,
Okay.
which he finally did. He did it, as a matter of fact, on the 21st of July.
4 days ago.
Okay? 4 days ago. Chairman, Christopher Sylvia. Nathan Sylvia is treasurer. Now, Nathan Sylvia is a city council candidate. Tell me that doesn't look fishy. Looks awful fishy to me.
I don't know. You think the OCPF, might that like I said, that to me that seems like a blatant. The other guy's a candidate for public office too.
That's right.
I don't know how you normally. Well, I know you really, because you ran for office. You are a lot more well versed in OCPF than I am. But I know one thing. I dealt with a lot of treasurers running unions and stuff like that. And you always try to get a neutral party. You don't get someone that has a vested interest. This guy's a politician. He's running for political office. I don't know that immediately, under the ethics law, even the perception of something that's not 100% above board is an ethical violation. And that, to me, gives you the perception of there might be some kind of, little bit of weird stuff going on.
Well, what's interesting is his bank is Mechanics Cooperative.
Oh, don't tell me. I thought you were going to tell me it was the Sylvia Bank of
No.
Fall River or something.
And
then I'm really going to get concerned.
Nathan has an OCPF account. He has been putting money in.
Yeah, no, you're right, Jason. That was just a rhetorical statement. I was just, it was not. I'm not naive enough. I've been doing this way too long to believe that.
Okay, now Nathan he filed his report to run back on March 27th, and Chris filed so late, makes no sense. Now, Nathan has for a treasurer Ryan F. Fitzgerald. That's Chris's psychology brother. He's a psychologist or something. And the address is in North Dartmouth, Massachusetts. And as a matter of fact, Mr. Fitzgerald donated a substantial
No,
sum of money to the fire fundraiser. To date, Nathan has received $250. He's got $127.80 in expenditures, and cash on hand is $122.20. I don't know why these people think we can't look this stuff up. It's all there. It's all there.
We just had a question here. You can't be your own treasurer.
Right.
And so just to answer that question, we had a couple of questions because you can't.
Right.
Can't. No, he's not the treasurer. You can't. You have to have someone else. Obviously, if you're the candidate, you have to have a. And then, like I said, it shouldn't be another political candidate. I mean, that smacks of a violation of the ethics law to me. I mean, it's like having the fox in charge of the committee on how we're going to build the hen house.
Yes, Jason. Christopher is not Nate's treasurer. Nate's treasurer is Christopher's friend, Ryan Fitzgerald. But Nate is Chris's treasurer. Like I said, it always comes up and it always seems fishy. Is it just me? Am I the only one seeing that?
Well, you dig into the OCPF. I mean, the whole thing to me is, I mean, look, I'll admit it. I'm a real conspiracy theorist. I always look at things like, especially when it's in a political arena, as there's got to be something, everything you see is always normally a smoke and mirrors. It's a deflection. But when I see, like I said, when I see somebody, it was a simple question. When I see somebody running for political office that he against the mayor that he has been, basically throwing bouquets at for a while, it causes me to pause. Listen, if I had a mayor that I really liked and thought he was doing a really good job, I would not be running against him.
Right.
I would not be trying to unseat him unless you know something we don't know. Yeah, it is fishy-dishy. I don't know. It's a simple question. He can be offended by the question, but I think, a logical person would ask that. It's like saying, I got the best plumber in the city of Fall River, but I'm going to go change. I want to do my own plumbing now, even though I don't know anything about plumbing. But this guy's done a great job for me, and I've been telling everybody to use him. And now I'm going to, do my own plumbing. I'm going to do it yourself. And I'm
looking over Nathan's expenditures. Monthly service fee, monthly service fee, monthly service fee. And then back in April 11th, Christopher's Cafe, meet and greet, $52.80. How come the food there was $52.80, but for the Flint it was $600?
Well, that's because they had better potato chips.
I guess so. And it said joint smock a hot dog.
Oh God! They had gourmet potato chips. Maybe it was like they didn't. Maybe they didn't have limp lettuce.
Hey,
You know what happens? I mean, some of our politicians now are very, very sensitive now. They get very, very upset. And it seems a bit fishy to me. Not a bit, a lot fishy. And look, like I said, I'm a conspiracy theorist. I believe that I think they threw him in there because that's the old Fall River tactic of throwing somebody in with a Portuguese name if there's a Portuguese candidate there.
To dilute the vote.
Cut the vote. That's right, dilute the vote. That's an old tactic. And, I mean, realistically, you're looking at the opponent, and the opponent's the only person who actually has said, I got a plan, and the first thing I'm going to do is a forensic audit. And once you mention the word forensic audit, so that individual will know exactly how much money the city has, where it's being spent, how it's being spent, if it's being spent correctly, and he wants the citizens to be able to know that too. That panics them all. They're gonna go into crazy mode, because once you start, what did we say on our first show, CJ?
Follow
the money. That's it. Follow the money. He made a video that we're hating on him. I'm not hating on him. I don't even know the guy. I couldn't pick him out. No way.
We are vocalizing the reports filed with the state. I don't know how we're hating on him.
You're a double misogynist and everything else. I don't know.
That's right.
I don't know. All I did was ask a simple question. If you told me you were going to vote or run against somebody you thought was doing a great job, I would ask you the same question. I would have to ask myself that, but I wouldn't do that. If I think somebody's really good, I'm going to vote for them. It's like Michelle Dion.
Hey, look who joined us.
Jeff Leary, good Lord. What about Jeff Leary?
It's Christopher Sylvia.
Oh, yeah. Well, welcome aboard.
Yeah.
Can you answer my question? What has given you the incentive to run against Coogan? You were a strong advocate for the way he was running the city. Do you think he's doing something wrong, or is there something you think you can do better? That's a simple question. That's all I've asked. That's the only question I've asked. If you can answer that question, I'd be fascinated with the answer.
And Chris, now that you're here and watching the show, I would suggest you get a new treasurer. I think you may have some ethical problems with that. We're only reporting on the stuff that's available from the state.
If I were you, I'd listen to CJ. He ran for office a few times, and he's very good with the OCPF regulations and stuff like that. So I cannot say that I never ran for public office. I ran for union office, but
which was worse.
But the OCPF is very, very critical about things like this. They're very, very. They really look at this stuff closely. So
yes, they do. The old director used to say at every training, and they used to have them at Fall River, every city election. Every election in the city, they had them. And Mike Sullivan used to say, you don't want to see your name and my name together. Because when you do, it's going to be in the front page of the paper. And it won't be for something good. I have many contacts with OCPF. I've talked to many of them about various candidates.
Oh, they are pretty serious about campaign violations.
Yes, they are.
They're pretty serious about that.
And we always follow the money.
Yeah, well, yeah, follow. That's the way you have to do it in politics. Just like in Washington, when you followed the money, you found out how much all these congressmen are getting back from the pharmaceutical companies. You found out how many consulting jobs their wives got, and their brothers got, and their cousins got, and how mysteriously, with a salary of $175,000 a year, they all become multimillionaires. So, it's always good to follow the money, and the OCPF they follow the money, but I don't know, Nelson. I can't.
Can't speak for him.
I can't speak for him. Like I said, I think it's a pretty valid question. I don't know. I don't think I'm being mean-spirited or anything like that. I've been in this game a long time. I just want to know because it doesn't. I've seen a lot of people run. I've seen people run against people they dislike because they dislike them. I've seen people run because they think they can do a better job. But I can say in all the years I've been in this, I've virtually never had anybody run against anybody that said, I think he's doing a really good job.
The sad part about it is, this man has been in the public eye for a limited amount of time so far. Okay? In that limited amount of time, he has done some good things. Okay? But now we're finding out that there were strings attached to the good things. Maybe he doesn't think they were strings. But people do. People get the impression. And you've pissed off so many people because they're publishing your dirty laundry. And they're making it public to everyone. It's going all over the place. You know how many times I get emails and direct messages about stuff you've done and I haven't spoken about it? Politics is a dirty business, and this is going to be a dirty campaign. Yes, it will, Nelson. It speaks volumes to everyone. And he's probably out there right now blocking me, blocking Chip. Well, he can't block Chip. Chip doesn't have a Facebook page.
No, I don't have a Facebook. I don't do Facebook. I don't even pay attention to Facebook. There's too many loonies on that thing. Because we'll get in front of a camera, we'll say what we got to say, and we don't. We have skin thicker than a rhinoceros.
That's it. Hey, we got a couple of messages here from YouTube, from James Machado, MJM, David Oliveira. I would love to see you guys interview Coogan. LOL. You, as well as I know, that's never going to happen. He will not come for an interview with us. He does like questions. Yeah, lots of them.
Yeah, except he never answers them.
Exactly.
He answers them with gobbledygook, but
don't waste your time on this guy. Clearly, in the race to try to take away from Carlos, because Coogan is scared. We know Coogan is scared.
What is this one?
That one was on YouTube, that comment I just made.
No, I'm looking at this one from Bruno. Last I've seen your Facebook Live, you were breaking into a privately owned abandoned mill. What the hell is that about?
Oh, that was towards Alphonse.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm sorry. I don't know that.
Went into Duro and took videos of what's still left around in there, including some dangerous chemicals. And the building is unsecure.
Thank you, Fred. I will get that. Thanks for the link. Yeah, I asked a simple question. To me, it's not a complicated question. Like if you told me why was I running against somebody that I felt was doing a good job, I would probably think that I actually should have led with that as soon as I declared my candidacy. But that's just me.
Oh, that was from Renee Barrett.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to hear about how Moore is sticking them in Fall River and everywhere else. She took them out of the hotels and she's putting them in a market rate housing here. That's why they're building it all. They're not building it for people from Newton and Wellesley and Martha's Vineyard. They sure as hell aren't coming to Fall River because I don't think there should be a debate because Paul Coogan has got 6 years of an abysmal record that, nothing that can be said in a debate can justify his record. and it's up to the candidates to show us. We all know how badly he's done, and they can highlight the things they think are the worst case scenario what he's done wrong. But I see, to me, a debate between the other candidates is only giving them an opportunity to try to maybe upset some of their supporters who could switch over to them if they get to the final. It's counterproductive because they should be, the candidates for mayor should be focusing on bringing their platform to the people, telling us what they're going to do differently than Paul Coogan, how they're going to do it, and what their plan is to undo the damage, which might be a 100-year plan. It might be longer than Coogan's plan to put firefighters on the fire department, which might be end up a 100-year plan to get the maximum staffing. But the reality is, I want to see these candidates come on our show, get the airtime, tell us. We all know how bad Coogan is. You can highlight what Coogan did. You can tell us what you think about, the taxes and everything. We all know. We spend half our life talking about this bozo, unfortunately. But I want to know what these people are what they have planned, how they're gonna do it. Not just, oh yeah, I'm gonna cut taxes. Well, how are you gonna manage to do that? Do you have a plan? How are you gonna bring public safety to, up to standards? How are you gonna truly prioritize public safety? That doesn't mean take $3 million away, give them $1.5 million back, take that back as soon as you get a handout from the state. That's not showing you support public safety. There's a 1710 standard. They knew about it. I presented that 25 years ago. They've got a plan how to reduce costs. That was all done years ago, and they just ignored it. They still ignore it. So I want to know what these mayoral candidates have to offer. How do I feel about you? I'll give you a general recap. I'm going to paraphrase because I don't know. I can tell you what I said, but not it. I don't want. See, Paul Coogan would call me back and said, "No, you said you had three words that you didn't say
exactly
in the first time you said it." He'll rerun the whole show. But what I basically asked was, I said, Chris, I got nothing against you. I said, but I have a question. I said, and I would ask it of anybody. You were a big supporter of Paul Coogan, and you're going to run against him. So I would just like to know what your motivation to run was. Is it because you think you can do the job better? Do you think he's done something wrong in the interim? Have you changed your opinion about what he is? Well, I just want to know why, because normally in all my experience, and it's a long time in this business, in this game, I very rarely see people run against people who they think are doing a good job. They normally support those people. So it was a fairly straightforward question, and Nelson weighed in a few times and said, I don't know what's happened. Yeah, well, they should all be embarrassed because some of them were sitting in the chair 20 some years ago when I made that presentation. And I mean, it wasn't just I'm telling you what the standard said. I brought down about 12,000 pages of statistics and reports to support that standard and why we needed the manpower in the city of Fall River and the stats on our fires and everything else. And they ignored it then. We lost on a 5-4 vote. And Joe Camara, who was there, was one of the swing votes. We knew Pat Casey was done. Yeah, it's all crickets now because what do they do? They're still standing by and letting Coogan take the $1.5 million back. I want to see the city council at the next meeting say, no, it's staying there. That and the 1.2 to state.
Well, the thing is the city council has not approved the transfer of the $1.5 million from EMS for stabilization to the fire department. So that hasn't come before them yet. And it may not come before them now.
And it won't. So again, Paul Coogan lied again. He said he was going to give him the 1.5, and he held it back. So, yeah, I just don't it was a simple question. Yeah, Joe Camara is still there, and he was one of the
David Oliveira on YouTube says, chemicals are still in question at DCM. Any information on that? Well, no, but they just racked up the cost. So, because they said they got more
Christopher
and more lead paint.
Chris Peckham has positive proof. We all know it got capped. We have hazardous materials. We should be reported to the EPA. This city should get a multi-million-dollar fine. They poisoned the city. They poisoned the ground in our community, and they capped it and they covered it up. And that's not, that's not only Coogan. That was prior to Coogan and everything else. This whole crap show started. These people, they're unbelievable. Yeah, Joe Camara's still there, and the 2 votes, that was one of the few times I was 100% wrong on that vote. I thought we were going to carry the vote. I knew Joe Camara would cave on a big vote and not support us. And that's a long story. But the guy that really disappointed me was Tommy Kozak. Tom Kozak, and he's passed away since, but the truth is the truth. Tom Kozak had voted for everything that we had ever put forth. He called me all the time about every issue in front of council, not only just fire. And at that vote, you had at least 4 stooges, and I figured we'd have 5. And I said maybe Joe Camara might or might not. I don't know. It was iffy. We could have won 6. We could have got 6. We could have got 5. But I figured we'd have 5 solid between Joe Camara and Kozak voted against it. And I later found out he sold himself for 2 summer jobs for his kids with the city. And I never spoke to him again. He tried to come over and try to make an excuse. I said, Tom, you came to me on every issue, and I gave you an honest answer on everything you ever did. You sold us down a river. I know why. And I said, you're a piece of shit. And I never spoke to him again.
Just tell us how you really feel, Chip.
That's me. You can go. You can get all the members. Listen, all the members of the Fall River Boys Club, when it was open, will tell you that. Kozak used to go to the club. And I used to go to the club, and we'd be in a locker room for I don't know how many years after that happened, and he would never even look at me. He'd just go to the other end of the lockers and get a locker and get the hell out of there. But that's what I am. Remember, you remember the old saying, screw me once, shame on you. Screw me twice, shame on me. But it's fun.
Gene wants to know, Pat Casey, Kozak, and Camara. Who else? Do you remember?
That's a long time ago. The council changed a little bit. I'm trying to think of, it was Casey, Joe Camara, Kozak. I think it was. He was the chairman. Bill Whitty was one, and I think the other one. I can't think of the 5th now. It may have been what's his name? The guy, one of the guys that got bounced out later on. But yeah, I think it was Whitty because they changed that debate. It was supposed to be Eddie Dawson and I going head to head in a free-for-all, and just before the debate, they called me up and said, and I knew it. I've been bagged before. I know how the politicians ambush you. They called me up an hour before the debate, and Whitty told me. That's how I know it was Whitty. he said to me, we changed the format. You're going to get the time to present your case, and then Dawson's going to come up and present his case, and then we're going to vote. But there's going to be no rebuttals or anything. So I went up, I gave my presentation. Like I said, I had 12,000 pages of shit, and they just, I got done. Nobody asked a question. I got up and walked out. Dawson sat down. He lied through his teeth, and they had prearranged questions. Pat Casey asked him a question, and he went off on a tangent. Then they had that guy that was supposed to be from the NFPA. He was, but he knew nothing about the standards, and it was a bad job. And we went down. That's what I've been. I know politics. I know how dirty the game can be. They knew that I was going to eviscerate Dawson if they allowed me to cross-examine him. That he was full of shit. But that's what it was. It was the council rubber stamping something because the city didn't want to do to me. The city didn't want to pay. Just like I said, after this tragedy, when I first got on the fire department, Frank Candeas died at 555 Middle Street because we didn't have a warning bell on the air tanks, and we didn't have warning bells on our air tanks because they wouldn't pay. They didn't want to pay, and he died 10 or 15 feet away from a window because he ran out of air while he was searching for an occupant that we found the next day. And they still didn't buy the bells after he died. They named the fire station after him, but they didn't get the bells. But then 3 or 4 months later, somebody around Boston died without a bell, and then they made it mandatory. They passed a statute that they had to buy us the warning, but now they all come through with warning bells. They don't even make those anymore. We were using 15-minute Scots with no warning bells when I got on the job. And if you ran out of air in the middle of a mill or in the middle of a building, it doesn't take long for the smoke to take you down. That's how Paul Bernard died at Roma Chemical, and that's how Frank Candeas died at 555 Middle Street. So being a firefighter, you can see the difference. I remember everybody we lost, not like Coogan. Coogan, they're already looking for ways to deflect what happened. But firefighters take it personally when they lose one of their own or they lose a victim. Because every single victim that you lose, you'll never forget. I remember every single person we lost while I was on the fire department, even when I wasn't on duty. So that's the way we are. And but I mean, it's crazy. But they voted it down because they didn't give a shit then, and they don't give a shit now.
That's it. Gina's asked, was it Kathy Viveris? Was it Eric Poulin? Was it Plasky? I don't think Eric Poulin or Plasky.
No, it wasn't Pulaski. It wasn't Poulin. It might have been Kathy Ann. I don't know.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I don't think so, though. Yeah. I'm trying to visualize it. I went in front of that council so many times in the 25 years I was the president. They all got mixed up because some of them were there on and off. They were there for a couple of terms, and then they didn't.
Some of them went away, all 5 of them.
and some of them went away in 95. 5 of them went away. But like I said, it's hard. But I remember it was Whitty because Whitty was the chairman because he's the one that called me before that meeting to tell me I could not be able to rebut anything that Dawson said. So it was a tank job from the beginning. It was like an ambush. So, and I knew it, but you still have to go there and fight the fight. That's why I said I got the utmost respect for people like Colin, Kevin Aguiar, and Michelle Dion to go in that chamber and know you're going to try to speak the truth. You're going to try to fight for the people of Fall River, and they're gonna say yeah, and then vote against and not do the right thing. They're the people that someday they're going to look at themselves in the mirror and be very sorry what they see because they sold out a long time ago. Oh, yeah. Listen, I know some people that have been there for 30 years that have been there 28 years too long.
Exactly. It's unbelievable. Oh, well. We're probably going to be vilified today on a video. Probably done at 3:00 in the morning.
Well, if you want to vilify me for asking a question,
yep.
I got just
But
one
this
thing
is how this guy
that-
goes. This is how this guy rolls. If you question him, he blocks you.
Yeah. Well,
If you
remember
if
one
you
thing.
oppose him, he blocks you. And he hasn't got it through his thick skull yet. You are a politician now. You cannot block people.
Please
You
block
can't
me. I
do
don't
it.
care. I don't have Facebook. Well, listen, if he wants to make this personal, because I asked a simple question, well, now he's made it personal. So now it is personal. I'll remind you, I am half Arab. And Arabs hold a grudge if they're not really pissed off at you for about 1,000 years. And if they're pissed off at you, they'll hold it for 10,000 years. If you ever watch Lawrence of Arabia and you see the guy that got killed before they invaded Aqaba, and he went to Lawrence and he said, why did they do that? They've been fighting together for months, and said, it's a blood feud that goes back thousands of years. They don't even know why it started, but that's it. But if they get the opportunity, they'll kill. So Arabs have the Arabs have a saying, me against my brother and I against my cousin. Yeah, they're very tribal. So I'm tribal. So now you want to make it personal, make it personal. So, all I can say is, hey, you want to cut me out for asking a question, pick a finger.
There you go. There you go. Hey, I want to thank y'all for watching. Tomorrow's supposed to be a great day. We're supposed to get more rain on Sunday. Remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. We'll see you on Monday. Bye.